All right, number 1 here says if y varies inversely with x and y is 6 when x is 2, what is the specific equation? And then find y when x equals 5. So first you're going to set it up, right? If y varies inversely with x, what does that look like? What? K over x, right? Whenever you see varies, think equals k. Inversely, think division, and then x is going to go below, okay? So that's your start. That's not your answer right now. It says write the specific equation. That means you should have a value plugged in for k. So we're going to say 6. Now here's the thing. You can do this a couple ways. You can just plug numbers in right now and solve for k, or you can solve for k and then plug the numbers in. I think on this one, it's probably a little easier to solve for k and then just plug the numbers in. But because it doesn't always work that way, I'm just going to drop them in right now. So y is 6 equals k divided by 2. So if we just multiply by 2 on both sides, we get k equals 12. Okay? That means your specific equation is y equals 12 over x. So that's the equation I'm looking for that first part. Okay, y equals 12 over x. Then it says find y when x is 5. So y equals 12 divided by 5. Because that's an improper fraction that can't be simplified, you could technically just leave it like that. Or if you really like to plug it in to see a decimal, it would be 2.4. Okay, so I'm fine with either one of those. Whichever one you like better is great. Number 2 says if z varies jointly with x and y, what does that look like? Z equals k times x times y. Varies jointly, right? We're multiplying x times y. So if x equals 2, y equals 10, k is what we're solving for, and z is 30. That's your setup. The specific equation needs a k plugged in. So we're going to divide by 20. Divide by 20. So you can say k equals 3 over 2 or k equals 1.5. What do you prefer? I don't care. Okay, well, you choose which one you want. So your specific equation is z equals 3 over 2 times x times y, or z equals 1.5 times x times y. Okay, either one of those. You don't need both. So then it says find z when x is 5 and y is 20. So z equals 1.5 times 5 times 20. Plug that into your calculator. 1.5 times 5 times 20. You will get a z of 150. Okay. Number 3, suppose z varies directly with the square of x and inversely with y. What's that going to look like?
Z equals kx squared over y.
Yes, z equals kx squared over y. If x is 2, y is 4, and z is 12, what's the specific equation? So you're going to say 12 for your z equals k times 2 squared over 4. Okay, and from here, there's a lot of ways you could simplify this. I would probably multiply by 4 on both sides and get 48 equals, this is 4 times k, and then divide by 4. But you could just do it as one step if you want, but your k value, regardless, is going to be 12. Okay, so that 12 is going to get plugged in right here. Z equals 12x squared divided by y. So that's your specific equation. And then find z when x is 5 and y is 75. So z would equal 12 They're going to serenade us. Okay, anyway, sorry. 12 times 5 squared divided by 75. And again, you can plug that into your calculator. 12 times 5 squared, maybe hit enter just in case your calculator doesn't love you. Or 12 times 25 divided by 75, same thing. You get z equals 4. Gosh, kids are the cutest, aren't they? I love it. Yeah. For the very first one?
No, but number 3. Right here where it has the k times 2 7. When you multiply it, like how do you simplify it? You get 2 to 7.
So I multiplied by 4, this 4, right, to get rid of that. You could have right here just said 12 equals 4k over 4, and 4 over 4 is 1, so k is 12. I more just walked you through the algebra of it because it doesn't always work out to 1 there. But there's a lot of ways you could simplify that. You could also multiply by the reciprocal on both sides, but again, the reciprocal is 1, so that doesn't change anything on this one. Okay, number 4. I promise not to put gears because I understand not everyone understands how gears works. Gears work? How gears work. I didn't put gears on your quiz. You'll know what you're doing on the quiz, I think. I hope. But this one says, if a gear with D teeth does P RPMs, how many RPMs does an attached gear with C teeth do? Okay? Is that direct or inverse variation? That's direct, right? The more teeth, the more RPMs, right? They're both going up or they're both going down together. So that's direct variation. With direct, you set up proportions to solve, right? Okay, so we're gonna set this up as a proportion. It's really up to you how you set this up, but if you, okay, you try. How would you set this up? What proportion? D over P equals C over our unknown, our X, okay? So you can do it that way, and then cross multiply and solve for X. So if I cross multiply this, dx equals PC, and then what would I have to do? Divide by D, okay? So X equals PC divided by D is your answer then, okay? If you flipped it the other way, you could just multiply by C on both sides and you wouldn't have to cross multiply. So there's a couple ways to get there. I feel like cross multiplying is kind of our go-to with this, so I would probably just cross multiply it and call it good, okay? Number 5, suppose a supply of food will feed 24 students for 5 days. How long will the food last if there's 6 more students that join the team? Is this direct or inverse? Inverse. As the number of students goes up, the number of days is going to go down, right? So inverse, you do products, which means we're going to multiply the stuff. So 24 students for 5 days, 24 times 5. How long will the food last if there are 6 more students that join the team? What does your other side look like here? They're so cute. I can't handle it. Anyway, what's your number? 30. Okay, don't do 6. It's not 6. It's 6 more students, which would be 24 plus 6. So 30 times whatever variable you want to use. And then when you solve that, you get 120 equals 30x. So divide by 30. And you get 4 what? Days. Please label. Labels are good. Okay, number 6. If I can go 200 miles with 8 gallons, how many gallons of gas do I need to get 350 miles? Is this direct or inverse? Direct. They're both going up together or both going down together. These are going up. So for direct, what do you set up? Proportions or products? Proportions. So you're going to set up a proportion. What's that going to look like? 200 over 8 equals...
350 over X.
Yeah, 350 has to go on top, right? We want miles with miles and gallons with gallons, okay? So cross multiply that, 200x equals, what's that, 2,800. Divide by 200, and you get x equals 14 what?
Gallons.
Gallons. Label your answer. So far, so good? Okay, we're gonna hustle because we're gonna run out of time if I don't keep moving. So state the restrictions on this. We're gonna simplify. Up top, you're just gonna factor out a 2. On bottom, what is that? X squared minus 64. X plus 8, x minus 8, difference of squares, okay? So your restrictions, x cannot be what? Plus or minus 8. 8 or negative 8. You may write it as plus or minus 8 if you want. So that's your restrictions. Now slash x minus 8 over x minus 8 is 1. So 2 over x plus 8. Okay.
Can I see number 6 again?
Yeah. What'd you say, Jada?
I was saying, when we do the print off, we put 0 as well.
Yeah, 0 is not a restriction here.
How come
You
those-
could put a 0 in. Because this, if I put a 0 in, would equal 8. And this, if I put a 0 in, would equal negative 8. And we just have to set it so it can't equal 0 on the bottom. Well, to make it equal 0 on bottom, one of those two values has to equal 0, not plug in a 0. So to make it equal 0, an 8 or a negative 8 will do that. A 0 will not. Okay, number 8. We are going to factor this top one. So what can you multiply to get negative 5 that you can add to get 4? That would be x plus 5 and x minus 1, right? And then factor out a 5x from this bottom one. So we get x plus 5. What are your restrictions?
Minus 5.
This is 0, right? 5 times 0 will get you 0. So that one's a 0. Notice there's no addition or subtraction with it. That's how you can tell, okay? And then this one would be negative 5. So those are your restrictions. Now you slash x plus 5 over x plus 5. So you get x minus 1 over 5x. Okay? They're killing me, you guys. I love it. Sorry for this part. My document did not turn out nice. This is multiplication, multiplication. This bottom one was supposed to be division. Okay, so when you multiply like this, guys, essentially what you can do is you can just treat this as one big division bar when we're multiplying, right? It's all the stuff on top times all the stuff on bottom. I would simplify by taking the 4 over 10 is 2 over 5. The 6 over the 9 is 2 over 3. So let's just do the numbers real fast. Across the top, you have 2 times 2 is 4. Across the bottom, 3 times 5 is 15. Now look at your letters, your variables. You have b to the third over b squared. What is that? B where? Beware. B on top, yes. A over a to the fourth. A to the negative third on top, so a to the third on bottom. And that will be your answer. Okay. Yeah. You good? Okay. That's fine. Ask away. Okay, up top here, factor out an x. You have x minus 5. Up top here, what can you multiply to get negative 15 that you can add to get 2? That's going to be a negative 5 and a positive 2. Okay, down here, what can you multiply to get 3 that you can add to get negative 4? That's a negative 3 and a negative 1. And then this one is a difference of squares. X plus 5, you just square root both of them, x minus 5. Okay, so we're done with all this. Now let's start slashing. So we have oh wait. Oh, we do, but here's the deal. This one, it said you don't need to. And pay attention on the quiz where I don't need restrictions. Once you've done it for me a couple times, I won't make you do it every time, okay?
The top one on the right should be x plus 5 and x minus 3. Something like that.
Did I mess up?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. This is plus. Sorry. Oh, goodness. I really messed up. Sorry. X minus 3. That's what I get for not showing my work, you guys. I'm telling you, happens all the time. Rushing. Don't rush on your quiz. Are we good? Did I do anything else wrong? Okay. So from here, x minus 5 over x minus 5, x plus 5 over x plus 5, x minus 3 over x minus 3. So up top, all we have is an x. On bottom, an x minus 1. Okay. All right, last one, and then we'll do the quiz. So this one's division. What do you do with division? Flip it over and multiply instead. So we are going to take that first part and we're going to multiply by 2y squared plus 5y plus 3 over y squared minus 9. Okay. God bless you. So remember, we're not doing restrictions right now because it said don't worry about it on these, but restrictions come from the whole denominator and then this numerator, okay? Okay, what do we do with this numerator, this first one? Take out the 2, so y squared plus 2y minus 3. What do we do with the denominator? Y plus 1 times y minus 1, that's a difference of squares. What do you do with this denominator? Y plus 3, y minus 3, that's another difference of squares. Okay, so now some factoring. Actually, I'm going to erase, just so I don't have to rewrite everything again. I'm going to move this up here and then factor it and just drop it right in here. Okay, so when we factor that top one, how does y squared plus 2y minus 3 factor? What can you multiply to get a negative 3 that you can add to get 2? 3 and negative 1. X plus 3, x minus 1. Okay. This one, there is no GCF, so you have your a term of 2. What can you multiply to get 6 that you can add to get 5? That's 2 and 3. Don't forget to reduce that to 1 over 1. So that's, oh, I did x's. This is y, sorry. Y plus 1 times 2y plus 3. Okay, and now we can start slashing. So it's going to be y plus 3 with y plus 3, y minus 1 with y minus 1, y plus 1 with y plus 1, and I think we are done. 2 times 2y plus 3 over y minus 3. We made it. Yeah.
Can you backtrack from when you tried 2y2 plus 2y minus 3 and then how you got that answer?
So how I got from here to here?
Yeah.
So I just did the 2 drops down, right? And then I factored this. So what can I multiply to get a negative 3 that I can add to get 2? So that's a positive 3 and a negative 1. So y plus 3, y minus 1. Yeah, Isaac.
How did, if you go up to number 10, how did you get the top number as an x?
So I factored out of x squared minus 5x. You can factor an x out of that.
Oh.
So that goes out in front by itself, and then you have the x minus 5 with it.